All right, so I've been playing around with the gas mines quite a bit over the past couple of days and just trying to piece it together in some form of builder and whatnot. And honestly, I've had actually a pretty good time using them. I don't really like mines in the game. I mean, they're pretty situational in my opinion. They're good in very niche circumstances, but in general, I thought I came up with a build that was pretty good centered around these gas mines. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you basically a mini review of the gas mines first, and then I'm going to jump into the rest of the build and showcase kind of what I felt like worked pretty well. But of course, at this stage, there are just many things that compare well with these mines. But anyways, we're gonna talk about this build and we're gonna call it the Ultimate Gas Warrior. Let's talk about it. So jumping into our first crowd control option, it's going to be obviously the gas mine. So the gas mines are truly an area denial tool first. So that's how mines usually work in this game, meaning if you need to hold off an area or shield it off from enemies, meaning you got a bug breach or you got drop ships or you're playing the big defense missions, you're going to drop mines in and basically they're going to secure that area either by exploding or in the gas mines case, they're going to cause massive gas clouds, which is pretty awesome. So the cool thing about these things is that not only can you trigger these things yourself or your teammates can trigger these by running over them, you can actually shoot them, you can explode them, or find other various ways to make them go off outside of something needing to actually run them over, which is pretty cool. So that way you can actually set these off from farther away distances. So a couple of cool things you can do with this is that you can actually run the heavy advanced filtration armor and the vitality booster and take 0 damage. So that way you can just hang out in the gas cloud as long as you want. So this is a good strategy that a lot of people have been doing by just setting down the mines around them and just letting them go off and just setting them off themselves or whatever, and then creating this massive gas aura around them and just sitting in it. It's pretty OP in my opinion. So with these mines, there's some niche situations for them that they work extremely well. On the big defense missions, I feel like they work very, very well on any of the factions, meaning if you're going to set these up with other mines or even just as your main mine, this is going to create a huge area of denial effect because these things go out very, very far and they're going to be able to cover a wide area, which is nice. And the gas clouds are actually very large, so it's just absolutely perfect for either the big defense missions or the eradicate missions. It's also very good against the bugs specifically. Now it does work against the bots, but I just don't feel like that they have the same movement pattern as the bugs, so I feel like that bugs are going to be better for this mine. But at the same time, you can also use this for the illuminates because they have very similar properties to the bugs. So the difference being is that you're dealing with the urban environments with the illuminates, so that's something to keep in mind. But in general, I think it is very, very good against the bugs so far. So with the bugs in mind, again, it is very good against the big defense missions or the eradicate missions. I really do love using this as an area denial for the bug breaches, meaning if I see a bug breach coming in, I'm going to call this mine in real quick, and then as bugs are coming out, they're going to be setting off the mines, and then this thing lasts for quite a while, upwards of 15 seconds. I think it's very similar to the grenade, which is pretty cool. So these things are going to go off and then bugs are going to be coming out getting damaged. This is very good to be able to throw in things like fire grenades or being set them on fire with other things or whatever you want to do. This is actually a pretty good way to get some good gas and fire combos going off in the bug breaches. You can also use these on great success on various things like capture the flag missions or some other missions that do require you to hold an area down. You see the bug breaches pop up, or you know where they're going to pop up. If you've been playing the game a while, you can typically predict where they're going to pop up. Just you and your team, if you have multiple people running these, just set these all over the place, and then you're going to have some good protection from the various enemies coming from these breaches. So another thing I like to use this thing for is just throwing it in as a kind of softening tool for the mega nest or any type of large bug nest, because what happens is this thing goes in, it'll spread out everywhere, the bugs will be setting it off. You can either throw fire in there, have napalms coming in, whatever you would like, and you can actually just absolutely do a ton of damage to the bugs, or you can just walk in if you're running armor to protect you and just take out bug holes while the bugs are all dying around you, or you can just take out elites as you're going on with thermites. It's a really effective tool when you're assaulting these heavy bug nests or these mega nests. And then lastly, talking about how it interacts with the enemies is pretty self-explanatory, very similar to the other gas options we've had in the game, meaning that it's going to do well against the chargers and anything underneath them, and then it's not going to affect the Bile Titans. I honestly think it's a shame that it does not affect the Bile Titans because it's a mine, but at the same time I do understand that would be pretty OP in the grand scheme of the game. But in general, it is really good at being able to cause that causistic damage and confusion with the rest of the bugs. So one final thing of note is the cooldown is really good on these. It's very good on all the mines right now, but especially these, because you get the mines back every 102 seconds with all the ship upgrades. It's absolutely ludicrous how fast this thing comes back. But in general, how these mines are going to work in this build is that it's going to be a secondary source of crowd control, meaning that it's going to be thrown into specific situations, meaning we got bug breaches, meaning we got areas we need to protect. That's where these gas mines are going to come in absolutely key and clutch. All right, so the next thing we're going to be running in this build is the gas dog, or the dog breath backpack. Essentially, this is the best crowd control tool against the bugs in general, because it flies around of its own volition, will gas up the bug enemies and cause them to be causistically damaged, very similar to the mines. It's a very good backpack. It's probably my favorite tool in the game, and honestly a lot of people love this thing, so I'm not alone with my sentiments on that. The best thing about this thing compared to the mines or the gas strike or the gas grenade is the fact that it will fly around, like I mentioned before, and gas up targets for you. You don't have to actually do this or think about it. It literally does its own thing, which is very nice. The reload is very quick when it needs to come back. And then in general, I just really do love the fact that it pairs well with fire options, which are going to be bringing in a couple of options as well to be able to help get this nice little multi-dot damage thing going on the bug. So in general, the gas dog is just really good, and it's going to be our main source of crowd control when we're not throwing in mines. But pairing these two together is really good overall in the grand scheme of things. All right, so jumping into our sources of damage, our first source of damage is going to be the cookout. Now this is also doubling as not only our main source of damage, but also one of our main sources of crowd control as well, because this is going to be able to push the enemies back. It has a really good stagger effect. It's going to be able to set enemies on fire. It's not a massive powerhouse in terms of damage, but in general it is good enough in this build, and it will be able to kill things really quickly overall because of the ultimate dot damage that we're going to be doing between all the fire options and the gas options. So the cookout is in general a very solid and probably one of the best weapons in the game against the bugs, just because of its multi-use purposes. And again, it's just really good to make the bugs just go away from you and then slowly kill them, and then the gas dog is gassing them up. So in general, it's just a very good combination overall. All right, so our secondary source of damage and what we're going to be using to help when we have the gas mines out is going to be the incendiary grenade. The reason why I like the incendiary grenade over the impact incendiary grenade is because they last double the time, meaning that you're going to be getting 18 seconds with this grenade as opposed to the 10 seconds that you get from the impact incendiary grenade. And what I mean by that is that the fire damage that's going out, meaning the little fire area that's created by the incendiary grenades, the base incendiary grenade that we're going to be using in this build lasts 18 seconds, which is stupid, which means it's going to do more damage over time over the period of time that it's out, which is just great. So that way, if you have a bug breach, like I mentioned before, and you have the mines out, they're going to be getting causistically damaged by the mines as they're coming in from the breach, and then you're going to be able to toss in these incendiary grenades to be able to have a huge area of fire lasting for a long period of time. And on top of that, it has a 300 damage explosion, which is very small. It's not a very large radius for the explosion, but it's just a little cherry on top if you happen to catch some bugs on the breach when they're coming out. But in general, the incendiary grenade has kind of grown as my favorite fire grenade over the impact grenade, and in general I think it works really well with this gas mine build, because it's going to be able to pair well just throwing this in as the gas mines are out. So jumping into our anti-tank options, the Quasar is going to be our main source of anti-tank. This is just great because we are going to be running the gas dog, so having the Quasar in that anti-tank slot is going to work perfectly because it doesn't require a backpack or anything, which is the biggest reason why I like it and so many other people like it. Now, it does have to deal with a pretty aggressive cooldown, unfortunately, but the great thing about it is that it's going to be able to one-shot Bile Titans and Chargers to the face if you direct impact into the face. Really no questions asked. Now, of course, if you get the angling wrong on either one, meaning you shoot the side plates or you shoot them in the butt, on the Chargers, it will destroy their butts, and same thing with the Bile Titans. It will destroy the little sack if you hit them, but that won't kill them, unfortunately. But in general, if you hit them in the face, they will die very quickly. Again, the biggest weakness of the Quasar is the fact that you do have that really aggressive cooldown. So since we are going to be fairly limited on anti-tank options, you got to be pretty accurate with this thing so that way you don't make too many mistakes. Our next form of anti-tank is going to be the 500 kg, and the reason why I brought this in is because it is just one of the best delete buttons in the game for anything, and just in general it's great across all factions, but more specifically with this build, because we're going to be using the gas mines and because we are going to be using the incendiary grenades, we can throw this into those breaches as well to be able to kill any nasty things coming out, like Bile Titans, Impaler Chargers, or any other Charger variants. This will help be able to give us those distant kills, so that way we can actually have some more explosive damage going out, because it's going to be great at not only killing the elite units but also the regular units. I also like using this when we're assaulting the bases, meaning if we want to just clear a bug hole with one shot, this can actually clear all the bug holes in a bug nest if they're pretty close together, which is great, as well as it's going to be able to help us with those Bile Titan spawners to be able to do a drive-by and kill any Bile Titans coming out of those Mega Nest Bile Titan spawners. In general, the 500 kg basically doesn't have any weaknesses outside of some weird clunkiness that happens when a Bile Titan doesn't get killed by this thing, which is kind of annoying, but again, we have the Quasar to be able to offset that a little bit and kill things pretty quickly. So in general, this is a pretty good combo overall in the anti-tank category. So our main source of objective clearing is going to be the grenade pistol. It is absolutely no secret that this thing is a objective killing machine, meaning it's going to be great for all those bug holes that we got to deal with, especially in things like the Mega Nest or in any of the other bug nests. It's also very good in a pinch at killing the spewer enemies. So the grenade pistol is just a solid overall weapon. It's not going to have a ton of utility outside of objectives. We don't need it for very much, so that's why I'm primarily just saving it for those situations. Now, as for your armor passive, you have quite a few different options you can do. I'm personally running acclimated because I think it's the all-around best armor passive to run in most builds, and especially with this one, because you're going to have so much things with fire, so much things with gas, and you're going to have acid being shot at you. In general, it gives you an overall protection, but I understand that not a lot of people have this because the kill zone stuff is currently unavailable, which is annoying. So in that case, if you have access to advanced filtration, that is a very good option. You can also run inflammable if you want to be more protected from fire stuff, or you can run engineer or medkit, whatever you want. Really, this slot is kind of open for what you want, but in general, I would suggest that you run either acclimated first, advanced filtration, then maybe something like engineer, or you can run something else after that, medkit maybe. Just whatever you feel like is best in the slot. But acclimated is great because it's going to give you that flat 50% reduction to all damage in the game. That's not explosion, which is absolutely fantastic. So again, we'll be protected from our own gas, the fire damage we're going to be doing, and the acid that the bugs are going to be shooting at us. All right, so to give you kind of a final thought for this build and how it actually plays overall, what you're going to want to be doing again is you're going to be wanting to throw these gas mines in to the situations that you're trying to create some area of denial. So if you have bug breaches, you have things that you're going to be needing to hold off an area or something like that, you definitely want to use these gas mines pretty frequently because the cooldown is very, very good. Now keep in mind again that these are not super effective in the open world. You don't want to just be spamming these out into random areas because you may need it for a situation that, you know, may require some sort of holding area. So again, like, you want to make sure to kind of use these often, but kind of be choosy when you use them, because there may be periods of time where you don't, which is fine. But the thing that's really going to take these gas mines over the top and create this awesome fire and gas combo is throwing in those incendiary grenades, because you throw these incendiary grenades in, the explosion, even if it's a little bit further out, will destroy some of these mines, creating more gas clouds, which is really cool, and it lasts up to 18 seconds. So not only are you getting the 15 seconds of goodness from each mine that goes off, you're going to be getting 18 seconds of fire damage in a huge area, which is really, really good. So these two are like a good peanut butter and jelly combo, and I really did enjoy running this. And then when you have some big nasties coming out of these bug breaches, you're going to be throwing in that 500 kg to be able to clean up a lot of them, so that's great. The rest of the build is pretty self-explanatory. Cookout is going to be great for being able to take out things like Shriekers, going to be able to dish out some consistent damage. You got to be careful because it's not very powerful. You're more or less just shooting something and letting it burn to death. That's kind of the play style with this thing, but you can kill things pretty quickly if you do shoot it. But in general, this thing is not a powerhouse in the damage category. And then again, with the grenade pistol, you're going to use that primarily for taking out your objectives and whatnot, and then the Quasar is going to help us with our anti-tank stuff along with the 500 kg. So yeah, that's kind of the simplification of this build. It's not super complicated, but honestly it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be, and I really did enjoy being able to completely shut down bug breaches with the gas mines and the incendiary grenade. It was a lot of fun, and the kill count was pretty high for me at the end of most of the matches I did. Alrighty guys, that's my mini review of the gas mines. Nothing really too seriously in depth, and that is my overall thoughts on this build that I had going with the gas mines in mind. So what do you guys think about this build? Down in the comments below, and let me know what builds you guys have been cooking up with the gas mines, because I'm very curious, because I want to try some more builds out with these mines. Anyways guys, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.